Uh, my condolences and all of our thoughts are with the family of the individual whose life has been lost.
Our thoughts and prayers are with the family and friends of the individual who's been lost.
So our condolences go to the individual who was killed tonight.
You don't hear this every day, but that was the Boston mayor, the DEA, and the police commissioner offering condolences to an attacker that was trying to snip people. And I'm like, you don't hear that every day. When something bad happens, it's condolences for the victims that might have passed away. But condolences to the person that tried to do something, it's odd.
California Democrats now want to ban self-defense. Radical left California lawmaker Rick Zieber just proposed a new bill that would ban fighting back during violent home invasions. First, they came for our constitutional right to bear arms. Then, they slashed police budgets and packed the courts with soft-on-crime judges. Now, they want to take away our right to defend ourselves and our families in our own homes. California's war against law-abiding citizens must end.
I don't understand what the heck is happening on the Democratic side, but the idea we need to provide condolences to people that might do something bad to me, and now you have a bill that I need to be 100% sure that this person is going to hurt me when he's standing in my house. Until they do me harm, I might have enough justification to try to stop them. I don't know. It's a wild confusion game they want to play.
You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III.
I want to tell you and your people, you're the ally I've been hoping for all my life. Not one American has died defending Ukraine. You've taken our weapons and you've kicked their ass. And I'm very proud to have you as our ally. And I don't know if we can ever do business with Zelensky again. I think most Americans saw a guy that they would not want to go in business with. The way he handled the meeting, the way he confronted the president was just over the top.
And you also have to remember, he just doesn't want the money, he wants an army.
Let's be honest, now we can't rule out the possibility that America might say no to Europe on issues that threaten it. Many leaders have talked about Europe that needs its own military, an army of Europe. And
he needs Zelensky to recognize the position that he's in.
Which to you is what?
We're their patron. We're their best hope for the killing to stop and for them to emerge from this sovereign and prosperous. And we're also their best hope as a business partner. I mean, all Zelensky had to do today was put on a tie, show up, smile, say thank you, sign the papers, and have lunch. That's it. And he couldn't do that. And this followed 10 days of being difficult in private and now one day of being stupid in public. This did not have to go down this way.
Okay.
And however you feel about why it started, why it's going on, who's right and who's wrong, we can help them in this and come out okay on the other side, and he's making it hard.
Was he antagonized or baited into this, or was he just not appreciative of what Scott's saying as being the beneficiary of the United States?
Well, Laura, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I actually agree with Scott. And everything that he said was basically right.
Wow.
I know, I'm going to get killed on social media for admitting that, but...
As you can see, conservative commentator on CNN agrees with Washington Post super left-leaning. They both agree. They found the middle ground. What did Zelensky do? Ta-ta!
We are very happy in Ukraine that we have such strategic partners. We signed with you historic documents.
100-year agreement.
Yeah, we have only with you such documents with the United Kingdom. So we're happy and we count on your support and really.
I think a lot of people weren't very happy to suddenly see Keir Starmer face next to Zelensky. Well, Britain has signed a 100-year agreement to support Ukraine's military and financially. This includes providing Ukraine $3 billion a year until 2031 and to support Ukraine for as long as needed and establishing military bases along the sea. Okay, you get the point. But I'm like, what the heck is happening? Venga, dilo, remember to subscribe.
Remember to subscribe? ¿Por qué?
I hear the statements by some American officials saying that, you can't possibly beat Russia. I mean, Russia is so much bigger and, you need to give in to Russia because it's not beatable, which is not true, by the way. But then you're trying to signal to your Asian counterparts that if China is attacking them, then you are there. But China is so much bigger economy than Russia is, with so much bigger military than Russia is. So if you're saying that you're not able to beat, that we collectively are not able to really pressure Russia so much that it would have an effect, because then how do you say that you're able to take on China?
This is the Estonian Prime Minister. It's the way they think. It's all about feelings. Like, if you don't do that, imagine the message you're sending there. And I'm like, maybe I just don't want World War III. That's like me telling my wife, hey, why don't you go to the gym? Because you're sending the wrong message to the hot, sexy girls I see on the street. Our US federal government employee is returning to office 5 days a week. After 5 years of teleworking, we received the fork in the road email, and it was an obvious decision that Emmanuel stay in his career. To get off work in time for kids' sports and activities, he has to head into the office early, 2 hours earlier than when he used to start his work day, which means no morning time with the kids. He used to work out at home on his lunch break, and now he's waking up at 3 a.m. to work out, which means he goes to bed earlier and less time for us to talk. I have to handle all the morning drops-offs and arrive at my job later than before, which means I have to stay later and I get less time with my kids before bed. We've made these changes in our family with no assurance that his federal job is safe from this administration. Shortly after, President Musk asked him for 5 bullets of his accomplishments, etc. And who knows what comes next for us. The vibes in the DC are very low. I lived here most of my life, and what once felt like the most sound, secure and stable city in the world now feels like a city that's coming down with a bad virus for which there is no cure or vaccine. And all I have to say is this: I have a comfortable life too, but I don't expect it to stay the same. That's like expecting I would never lose an eye. Well, you adapt. I didn't expect I'm going to get MS. I didn't expect I got a son with autism. I didn't expect at 40 I don't have none of my parents, neither does my wife. I'm like, I can go on and on and on. To be saying that, hey man, it is my human right that my jobs wait for me with MS when I didn't work for 3 years and they still had to pay everything for me? No! When I went back, when I didn't get disability, they fired my ass within 30 days. Not because I suck, they fired the whole freaking department. I adapt.
You don't answer to him. Well, you're an elected official.
Well, it doesn't matter if you're an elected official or not.
Come on. Yes, it does.
Kash Patel's not an elected official.
But he's the head of the FBI.
Yeah, but he's not elected.
But he got sworn in by the Senate. Elon did not.
So you're saying that, and again, I could be wrong about this, but you're saying that if the president hires anybody to look into anything, they're not allowed to do it unless the Senate swears them in?
Yes, if you're going to be over how the federal government spends people's money.
But the amount of people that spend our money that are part of the federal government that we have not sworn in is what's caused all this bloat and bureaucratic bullshit that we're dealing with now.
Thank you.
I don't know anything about that. I'm not even going to sit here and act like that. I do.
I mean, there's all these programs.
I do know that's the problem with Elon Musk.
There's all these programs that they're slashing shit right now, right? Again, I don't even know what they're slashing, but there are all these programs that they have said have gotten a lot of bloat. In other words, that there's a lot more people have hired. They've hired for these certain like interest projects, and these interest projects have been potentially completed, and those people haven't moved on to work on anything else. They're just still there getting paid by our money. We didn't hire them. The Senate didn't hire them. Somebody at that company hired them. So I guess what I'm trying to understand is like,
I don't know how that works. I really don't.
I think it works just like
when you're USDA, FDA, you're in charge of nuclear weapons. I don't know how that works.
The Senate can't come in and approve every single person that's hired on every single committee. Maybe they could. Maybe it should be done where like the Senate approves like the person that's the head of the committee or something. Maybe that's the pushback. But I guess what I'm trying to say is like if you have nothing to hide and there is no issue, Let's look at the books.
No, sure, but it has to be.
Why is that a big,
you
why
can't
is that a
have
big deal?
unchecked, unauthorized power from somebody who's not an elected official.
How about
everything?
You could have done this check a long time ago while you were in power. You never did it. So the fact that you never did it when so many times the fund was lost, I'm not going to trust you again to put somebody that does your job. So let Trump choose whatever he wants because you had the opportunity and you didn't.
And so what we are doing is we're deploying these 1,200 plus units. You can see these units are not just in every case for one individual, multiple individuals in these units. We're hoping to get them constructed in a matter of months, not years. We're trying to, I wanted to say this summer, my staff said press will attack us if we fall short, so we're saying the fall.
Gavin Newsom, March 2023, we are deploying 1,200 tiny homes by fall at the cost of $750 million taxpayers' dollars. Interesting, right? By fall, like he said something like that. Reality, 2 years later, neither the 1,200 tiny homes or the 75 billions can be found. Woo!
Talk to any CEO, major, Fortune 500 company. They'll tell you that their bottom line, dollar-wise, does better when there's more diversity in the room.
But many of these...
That's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's made us stronger.
Many of these companies, though, are ditching their DEI
programs.
programs.
And I don't know why.
Well, let's investigate and help her out.
Let us investigate.
The truth about diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI training, is far from the feel-good story its advocates push. A study by Rutgers University that was brought to light by Cremieux reveals that these programs, which claim to foster inclusion, are instead breeding division, paranoia, and hostility. Rather than encouraging understanding, DEI training primes participants to see bias where none exists, and worse, pushes them to punish others for their delusions of racism. In these studies, participants read either DEI content from authors like Ibram X. Kendi and Robin DiAngelo, or neutral information about corn. After reading these two very different priming pieces, they were asked to evaluate a neutral scenario, a university admissions rejection completely devoid of racial context. The results were concerning. Those exposed to the DEI materials prior imagined discrimination, microaggressions, and bias. They wanted apologies, demanded disciplinary action, and even endorsed firing the admissions officer, all based on their imagined version of events. This pattern held across other topics as well. Those primed with DEI rhetoric didn't just perceive bias, they demanded retribution. They even endorsed explicitly hostile statements against entire groups they deemed to be privileged. Ironically, a program claiming to foster empathy and tolerance has bred zealots who see oppression in every corner and believe they are righteous in demanding punishment. This is the dark side of DEI. Rather than creating a more inclusive society, it's manufacturing ideological inquisitors, people trained to punish those who don't delude themselves. DEI is nothing more than a witch hunt for imagined racism.
Let's be honest, if you just remove the word DEI and just explain it to any random person and ask them, what ideology do you think we're talking about? They would say,
communism forever.
Don't get me wrong, makosa kita bong. Put the fire na mi blonde kush hash purple skunk criollo colombici jam jam. Turloqueta verdeta welcome.